working with Reed in January of 20.
Okay.
And then we did a whole bunch of online stuff for about 6 months. And about, maybe a month or two ago, figured out how to be safe enough to be able to come back out and do it in
Right,
park.
that's smart. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really cool setup. So I guess I really like the fact that it's just literally just free speech.
Yes.
You know?
Indeed.
And, like I said, everyone has a different opinion. It's really interesting to see what other people think. Because sometimes they say stuff you've never even heard of.
Would you sit back down, please?
Yeah.
Somebody has a question for them, for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, go ahead. And if you want to, you can type in your contact information here, and we'll send it to you.
Yeah, it'd be great. I have so many questions, especially during Tito, and especially the wars that occurred after Tito, because we all know for a fact when after Tito died, Yugoslavia broke up, and we saw the likes of the Serbs and the Croats. A lot of really bad stuff occurred in the genocide that occurred to a certain group of people. That it was a very interesting time to live back then.
Yeah.
So yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I would love to know more about it. I think more people should know more about what it was like to live in Yugoslavia, and how Tito operated, and how people like the workers there were treated.
Yeah, many people consider that the full breakdown of Yugoslavia is still to come, because Kosovo is still under their land boundaries.
So what are the countries' names that cover that region now? I assume that you're saying Kosovo is not in North Macedonia, and that's like to the northwest of you? And
Kosovo is in the north of North Macedonia, and it's one of the newest countries that is still getting recognized by year to year by different countries. It is one of the last countries to basically trying to break down to leave Yugoslavia or like Serbia. Like Montenegro was the penultimate, and now Kosovo is in the process of leaving the Serbian boundaries and government control, basically.
Okay. I want to make sure I'm spelling that right. Is that a K?
Yeah, mother trucking.
Trucking.
Yeah, and
Lilis.
K-I.
Okay, those are Ks.
Yeah,
those are Ks. All right, so I'm just going to connect those together till they look like a K to me.
Thank you so much.
K. And that's K-I-K-I.
Yeah.
Okay. All together, and that's Instagram.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm not reading out the emails over the stream. I will send that to you by DM.
Perfect.
Okay. Kimberly, would you either take a picture or type that into DM for FK? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, you guys are international.
We are very. It's an all-volunteer organization, so people show up from wherever they are. Here, you can see what we were doing. This is the ultra-wide shots from that one over there.
Okay.
And then while we were talking, we were doing a lot of this one, where you see us in a narrower shot, and we're each in a speech bubble.
Oh, okay.
From these two cameras, and then some of the time, we were doing, when we were talking, just the close-ups of the two of us.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
And this is all going out on live stream at the moment.
Oh, that's awesome. That makes sense. You guys are edited and everything.
Yeah. Well, our producer, FK, he's awesome, and he convinced me a while back that it was so much easier to have all this set up and do it live than to go back and have to edit this in.
Right.
The time difference is a 5-to-1 difference.
Really, that long?
Oh yeah, editing is
I mean,
so
it makes sense
slow.
because literally, like, I'm pretty sure you guys are here for hours, right? So you go back for another few hours because we're already here.
Yep.
Wow, and then nitpick it and everything. That's a long time.
Yeah, as it stands right now, the only editing I do is to clip this conversation out with nothing in the. I don't edit at all in the middle. I just clip the beginning and ending, and drop it as a separate video as well as the big long live stream, so people don't have to watch for 4 or 5 hours to get 2 hours of conversation.
Nice.
Because we're doing good if we get conversations half the time.
Right. How can I ask? Usually, how does it go? How does it go down?
Sure.
Like with these type of like conversations, is it more like how do they usually
We endeavor, if we're doing it right, it's very friendly and people are interested in coming back for more. That's our first goal. If that doesn't happen, no other score counts for me.
Okay.
And then if we have good rapport and you'd be interested in coming back, and I've heard you well, and then I can get bonus points if I understood you really well. I also get bonus points if you stop and think about a thing for a bit, like you did. We call that aporia, which is just jargon, but it means to stop and consider.
Yeah.
And so I've got full bonus points on this one.
Nice. Yeah, I mean,
not that it's like a win-lose score. It's just whether I'm doing it right or not.
You both asked some really good questions. With the gender one too. And you know what question I really love too? Like, what evidence or what needs to happen to change your mind?
Yes.
And I never thought about that too.
Right. I did that hypothetical with you, and you probably recognize that it's a very similar question.
Yeah.
What kind of data moves you?
Yeah, and I was thinking what would change my mind?
Yeah.
Because I already had to change before too. Like, what would make me go back on it too?
Uh-huh.
So it was interesting to really sit down and honestly think about it. I'm kind of happy that despite sitting down, I did kind of stick to what I originally said. But it was interesting to really for a second there be like, what would it be?
Yeah.
What would it be?
90% of the change that happens as a result of a conversation like this happens not during the conversation, but after and between.
Right.
People reveal and go, wait a second, and then they reconsider it, and then they move their needle up or down.
Yeah.
And by the way, I get the same bonus points no matter which way you move your needle.
Mm-hmm.
If you move your needle at all, that's a bonus point.
Right.
But it doesn't matter which way. Mm-hmm. Toward me, against me, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I loved it too. I also loved you guys asked us really good questions. And one thing because I have to do debate too. One thing I really loved was asking questions that everyone just likes to throw out their jargon, their knowledge too. But asking questions that make you slow down and truly think. So I really love that question, and I really don't mind. I'm probably gonna steal it from you guys.
Oh yeah, totally. And I do all my stuff Creative Commons. So if you even want to grab this conversation. You are welcome to. If you would like my help in that, you are welcome to hit me up. You get the cards. You can contact us, and we will more than happily help you with things like the audio recording off the mixer or the video recording or the whatever.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, so cool. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This. And I appreciate you guys doing something like this too. As I said, I'm a conservative too.
Yeah.
And on college campuses, like I said before too, they're supposed to be a place where they challenge your ideas.
Yeah.
But I feel like we don't really. I mean, I don't know where you stand, and you don't have to tell me too.
You are welcome to ask. If you do, sit down so we can hear you.
All right.
But you are welcome to ask my position on any of these things. I'm trying to be neutral so as not to speak for another position, but I'm not trying to be secret.
Yeah. Do you mind if I
Please.
pick your brain? I'm
Sure.
To hear the other side, I'm curious too.
Sure. You're totally welcome to ask any questions you like, and if you like, you can pull him in and ask his questions too.
Awesome. Yeah, for sure. No problem. I'm curious. So where if you do identify with the party, is there a particular party that best fits you?
I vote Democrat most of the time, but I don't admit to being a Democrat. I would probably, if I had to pick one, be closer to libertarian.
Nice.
That liberty value is really high for me.
Right.
But my problem is I see libertarians in these two camps, one that's very on the right and one that's very on the left, and I don't really see a connecting bridge in between.
Mm-hmm.
I find myself, if you've seen this political map where you have left and right,
right,
and then authoritarian versus anarchist over here, I find myself one notch to the left and 3 down away from authoritarian.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm at.
Nice.
We can adjust that. We will adjust that next.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Kimberly, would you move it this way along the table?
One thing I am curious about is what's your opinion on free speech?
I am so in favor of free speech, and I wish that we had fewer restrictions on it. I am very, very disappointed with both extremes, but I see it on the left more of like a cancel culture thing or a warning. No, that idea is too something to be allowed to be spoken of in polite company, and I think that's just corruption waiting for a place to live. I am very pro free speech.
Right. I mean, it makes a lot of sense for the whole libertarian thing, right?
Yeah. I'm consistent.
Yeah, I'm glad so. Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree too. That's why I really think this is so cool, because I wanted to say that we definitely do see that. So I'm gonna call right. That we definitely see like this thing called hate speech nowadays too, where people want to censor you for certain things. And even though, while I might not agree with a certain idea, especially whether it be like something that I know it's absolutely just nonsense and not true, I'm not going to say you don't have the right to say that too.
Good.
I think that we should have a right to say what we want to, and I think as individuals we will basically decipher, we'll figure out what we like and we don't like, and what's BS and what's the truth.
Yep.
And I don't think anyone should have the authority to tell me what I can and can't say and what you can and can't say. I do believe in the rare exceptions, that we do see nowadays too, where you let's say if someone advocates for violence,
right,
or the whole fire thing in a public space.
Yeah. I have 3 restrictions on free speech, which I'm very happy about. You mentioned the first one, incitement to violence. The second one would be falsely creating a panic.
Oh, that's a
By
good
the
one.
way, I am allowed to say fire in a crowded theater if it's actually on fire. I am encouraged to do that. False.
I would hope so. Right?
And then the other one is defamation.
I that's a good one, actually. That's a good one.
Yeah, defamation, the whole libel slander thing. I think there should be limits on that, and mostly I'm happy with those being like, you could be sued. Not that it's not illegal, but you could be sued for it, kind of thing. I like that defamation is in the it could cost me money, but it's not going to land me in jail.
I do like that. I just want to add on. I think it's true, because we see nowadays how easy it is for people to just say one thing without any consequences as a result, and they don't see the ramifications that has on the person.
Oh yeah.
You just walk away not thinking what you did to this person as a result too. And it's definitely not right that people can just make up these lies without even either knowing you or knowing a small bit of information that they screw up, and they try to hurt you as a result.
Some people, a small fraction of people, I hope it's a lot less than half, will hear a negative opinion and be convinced. They don't need any detail. They don't need any supporting information. Oh, that person's evil? Got it. Wrote that down. And that's a problem.
I think the big problem.
That's a big problem, because that means those people can just be told what to think. Just think. Done. And they're done. And now, and if they're a large enough voting bloc, that could really sway something.
Yeah. Do you believe mob rule is real? Or mob rule exists?
I've seen it happen. Yeah. I'm familiar with many cases in history where there were riots and people were broken out of jail. I'm thinking of the Bastille in France. I'm thinking of a bunch of times where somebody was held in a jail and a bunch of other people came and broke them out, or broke them out in order to lynch them, because it goes both ways.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I've seen it happen. Torches and pitchforks are real. They happen.
Yeah, it definitely one of the things I do fear is like I said, I mentioned before too, my distrust in the media and the editing that occurs, that we're seeing people with obtaining a small bit of information and just running with it.
Yep.
And how after even because we know for a fact, I mean, this isn't a fact, but there have been studies that most millennials don't read the article, they view clickbait.
Oh, okay.
And we know most people, and for a fact, no one really has the time to sit down and read the entire article. But if you see a certain clickbait, you're gonna probably believe it. And I think it's interesting that we do see, and I see this a lot of time on my Instagram too. People I know this is all those type. It's a fallacy because I know it's my own opinion, but I do see this way too consistently that people do share articles without actually reading the entire article, but because they see a picture or the text of it, they automatically believe that's the case.
TLDR, yeah. I don't think I know what fallacy that would be, but I'll believe you.
It was
the fallacy of it being your own opinion. No, I don't think that's a fallacy.
No,
anyway, that's okay.
But no,
I don't mean to quibble.
No, you know what? Actually, I think you're right. I think the fallacy I was referring to was like those hypothetical fallacies.
Yeah.
Where people say like, would you like where they just make this stuff up thinking that'll change your mind because they try to appeal to the emotions.
Okay.
I really hate I'm blanking on it because I feel like I'm being fake, but
you're not being fake.
But God willing,
you don't need the names of the things. You're describing them just fine.
Yeah, but can I ask, what does it mean to be a Democrat to you?
To be a Democrat? I don't call myself one. I do end up voting that direction more often.
My bad.
No, that's fine. And I could pretend, or I could think of somebody who calls themselves a Democrat or a Republican and says, well, I've always been a this or that. I think there's a team loyalty there. And if I change my mind now, does that mean I was wrong for that much time? There's sort of a sunk cost fallacy in it.
Oh.
So team loyalty and sunk cost fallacy and like not wanting to be a quitter, not wanting to give up on a thing once you've got it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a big potential fail if we're not willing to shift. I've got jargon for it, calling doxastically closed, which doesn't mean anything to normal. That just means you're closed to information that would change your mind.
Yeah.
And if somebody says, I'm a this, do or die, and I'll never change, okay, I get it. You're closed to new information.
Right.
Maybe we can figure out a way around that, and maybe not.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think it's so interesting because you got me thinking, is that me, because I will admit, like, I am a conservative. I'm very proud to be conservative. I'm very proud of voting for Donald Trump, but it got me thinking, like, shish kebabs. Am I doing this because of my my loyalty? But
shish kebabs. I'm going to remember your swear words. You have great swear words.
Thank you so much. But I will admit, though, when Andrew Yang did run it back, when he announced running for 2018, I was on the Yang gang. Yep. So I will admit that I am open to new ideas.
There you go.
I was very in favor of Andrew Yang.
Me too.
I do.
I didn't think he ever had a chance.
No, unfortunately.
But I was happy about his idea. I do actually think UBI is a good idea.
You know what? I will say, for the amount of being a conservative, I'm not that much, big fan of, big taxes and social programs. I do believe there are some social programs we should have. But for UBI too, I would say I do see the benefits for it, and I do also think that Andrew Yang brought up a good thing that we're ignoring today's society with the amount of jobs being taken away and the amount of jobs that are going to, being more taken away from actual humans and now being done by robots. And it's a big problem that we're not really addressing. That kind of creeping up on us.
Yeah, that problem's been creeping up on us since the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah.
Imagine how many accountants and people who are computers who are being put out of work by the incredible number of calculations that this little device here is doing for me. That would be trillions of accountants.
Right.
I think the demand and the cost, as long as it doesn't move too fast, we can adapt.
Right.
It's like we're going to have a problem in the next couple of years of having a huge number of professional drivers put out of work, probably by Elon Musk.
I do agree with
full
that.
Self-driving is once that's done, the regulators are happy with it. Taxi drivers and truck drivers now are out of jobs.
Yeah.
If it happens really fast, that's going to create some serious, at least short-term unemployment.
Yeah, also take into account too the people that rely on those type of people, like diners in the middle of nowhere that rely on truck drivers to come and eat at these places.
Yep.
So those type of jobs are also going to be affected.
Yeah.
And that income might dwindle as a result too. You mentioned obviously this is going to happen no matter what.
Yeah.
We like or not, since the Industrial Revolution, which isn't a bad thing, but it's a rate that which it's going.
Yeah.
And Andrew Yang said by 2030, like we're already 3/4 of the way there. Self-driving trucks are coming.
Yep.
We're seeing more cashiers unfortunately say goodbye, and the ones that are staying are not getting that much money, and we're seeing it harder, how much harder it is to actually get into the job market, whether it just be an entry-level job nowadays.
I've heard many people talk about the future about exponential growth curves,
and
of course that's where the problem comes in, is when the change happens so fast we can't adapt to it.
Yeah, and I think it's also interesting too, because we always think it's just a little guy that's going to happen to. It's just some college student. It's just someone who's working some dead-end job. They should go to college and stuff. But what's interesting too, we're also seeing it in the law professions.
Okay.
You know, I read this awesome article in 2010 to 2018 or 2019. We saw about 19% of law jobs be taken away. Someone can fact check me, by the way, too.
Okay.
But
yes, please.
Yes, please. I don't want to say anything that's not correct, but we did see that the way that we do see certain types of laws.
Kimberly, would you move this thing that way?
We did see certain type of laws, because very few lawyers actually go to the courtroom right away. Very few.
Right.
So a lot of them are just reading and all that stuff too. We did see text.
Yeah, most court cases don't go to court. Most court cases are worked out ahead of time.
Exactly. We are seeing certain lawyers be taken out because they don't need them to do all that simple readings and look up certain terms, and their basic jobs of what they went to law school to further information too. So I do believe this divorce lawyers and people that get into accidents are still going to be there, but for other laws, we're going to see a very interesting shift.
Yeah.
To those people who still have a lot of debt from their law degrees. What happens to them, and what happens to the debt they have to pay off?
Oh yeah, that would be a huge shift for them, because they've taken on a huge risk on their own, their whole career.
A huge risk, and
it's like the risk a doctor takes. What if we all go to single payer healthcare? I think doctors' peak wages go way down, but they're maybe if we do this, we also have to have a program to pay back medical education debt. If we do that, we might have to look at both sides of that.
I think we definitely would, only because how else would they pay? We see a lot of people who do their residence, they don't pay back student loans. They allow the interest to accumulate, because once they actually do become, let's say, a surgeon, they can easily pay back off everything they made. But
right.
We do see go to that way.
If they win big, if they win the lottery, but it's obviously a much better chance than the lottery.
Yeah.
Maybe even the halvesies.
I mean,
are you going to become a good, successful surgeon? Maybe half the time, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a very difficult profession to actually go into.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what's your take on which candidate from the left or even the right or libertarian would you say represents you?
Which candidate represents me? Well, I voted for Biden, but I had a wide open choice of two. I had Trump or Biden. I like Bernie a lot.
Cool. Can I ask? What about Bernie exactly?
When I went down along his list of policies, I was in agreement with him more often than the others.
Okay.
I mean, Bernie with a side of Yang would have been perfect.
Yeah, we would be able to build create a lot of jobs and find a way to pay for a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, maybe if what they had in mind was feasible.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in neither case did I see their careful math, and I really like playing with spreadsheets and math. I'm very mathy.
Cool.
And neither one of them showed me their homework. They didn't show their work. So, neat ideas. I wonder.
Yeah, I mean, definitely wonder too. It would have been interesting to see how that Bernie Sanders would have played out. Getting rid of student debt. Increasing minimum wage to $15. All teachers making $65,000 or $45,000 nationwide. Someone can fact check me on that again, by the way.
Okay, so setting up a minimum teacher has to be paid at least this much.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Well, I mean, it would have been interesting to see some of the policies. Is there any other policies that definitely stood out for you for Bernie Sanders?
See, I'm trying to remember back 6 months ago at the primary, because basically at the end of the primary I was like, okay, well, this is my choice. This is what I have left.
Yeah.
I'm very pro queer, and I have a husband and 2 wives.
Nice.
So I, of the candidates, he seemed very pro queer. So he's in my camp. That kind of thing. I think along that care harm value, he really hit me on the care harm value and fairness.
Cool.
I think that's why. It wasn't one particular policy. It was like looking at the whole set of them.
Right.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
We are hitting low sun angle. We'll adjust.
It's only if I understand. But
yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, I do have a lot of family that are do support Bernie Sanders, and when we do mention policies, we can go down the list and debate either one. But we also do see about a character and care.
Yeah.
And representation.
Yeah.
In politics too. So I can definitely see why someone would side for that, because I feel like more for certain people there's more of an emphasis, and for other people that doesn't have that into their lives, they wouldn't be affected as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a little hard for me to know whether I would be very much directly affected. Personally, or if I'm really, I might be expressing loyalty for my tribe.
Right.
This might be I'm looking for his help with people that have had problems I've had in the past. Maybe not problems I'm having now. I don't get much pushback. It's like you don't experience very much racism for being brown. I don't experience very much nastiness because I'm queer.
Right.
Life's pretty good in 2020 for that.
Nice. I hope you don't mind me asking this, but what is it? What exactly does it mean to be queer? Like,
queer is just kind of a blanket term for being in a sexual minority.
Okay.
Yeah. It's there's lots of words for each of the sexual minorities, and I fall into a couple of them.
Cool.
And so I'm just using queer as a generic term, rather than trying to spell out LGBTQ and then look it up to see which other letters I'm missing this week.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm really, really annoyed at the queer community for continuing to try to add letters. I think it is euphemism creep gone crazy, and I think it's playing into the hands of people who don't like it, because then they'll be constantly saying, well, all you're trying to do is then you leave enough letters open for pedophiles or something like that. And it's like,
I'm curious. Also, real quick, I'm just curious too when it comes to like the whole queer thing. That's really cool, you guys. I feel like it's terrible saying this, but because I heard growing up too, queer is an offensive word, right?
Yeah.
So
it's a reclaimed word.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, you guys were like, yeah, call us that too. We'll just accept it at this point too.
That's right. And proudly. And there's a bunch of them, but I don't need to go through all of them. They bring up too many things.
Yeah, it's really cool. I don't say that because
and if you call me any of them, I will smile and nod.
That's really cool because we did see that a lot when it came to like the Confederate flag. We saw in the South that African Americans were actually taking the Confederate flag and putting it on their trucks too, to actually take away the symbolic racism part.
Nice.
Notion of it too, being like this doesn't stand for racism. This stands for the South.
Right.
So
okay.
It was taking away the power for this is racism versus.
Hey, if you can change the meaning of it, then bring it on.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Totally.
I'm curious. I'm not sure if you know too much about this too, only because I talked to him about this, but the whole thing about the two genders.
Yeah, two genders.
Yeah, I'm curious. Someone who I sound like such a jerk because I feel like I don't know as much at it too, but like, do you believe there are two genders?
I believe there are at least two genders.
Okay.
I believe there's something like male and female, or man and woman, or something like that. Whatever words you want to use for it. And I firmly believe that there are some people who think they don't fall into those categories. And I'm willing to say, I don't want to argue with you. If that's your identity, I'll call you whatever you like to be called.
Right.
I'm totally into that. And I am slightly annoyed that the best word I can be given for an alternate gender is either a made-up word that doesn't actually mean anything, or non-binary. I would really like a positive word that actually describes what this is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like words that are defined in terms of what they're not.
Mm-hmm.
So I want a better word. I don't want to reject the idea. I want them to give me a much clearer word.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious, what's your take? Like, what is gender?
I think gender is the external parts that we are allowed to show in society that helps us to select a mate if we want to breed.
Mm-hmm.
We have lots. First of all, we are absolutely not allowed to show our genitals. Think of the children. Okay, so we can't actually get the direct information. So we have to work off secondary information, like a beard.
Right.
That's pretty solid. Not to say that it's 100%. I know women with beards, but it's the rare case. Breasts, shape, all the different kind of thing. And then we have an entire series of clothes and all that kind of thing. So when you're expressing, once you've hidden the genitals, the rest is, are we making the carpet match the drapes? Are we making the social acceptance of the clothes or the way I walk or the way I talk the same as my genitals?
Mm-hmm.
And for some people, if I don't, that's dishonest.
Okay.
And whereas if I really felt like I wanted to be portrayed, I want to portray myself in society according to one side or the other, and it doesn't match my genitals, now I call myself trans.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I want to let people express themselves any way they want to. And I've heard this thing like there's more than two genders.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to bend over backwards to accept people's definitions for terms that they use.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to say, okay, and I still want to ask for better words because I don't like the words that are being used. I think they're non-descriptive and they're argumentative.
Nice. I mean, interesting. Like we both have criticisms of it, but it kind of comes from like different. I mean, somewhat similar because you're all about being more descriptive, and I'm more about just what is it? Because what I hear is gender is socially constructed, and I'm always like, what does that exactly mean?
But everything's socially constructed, so why do you bring that up?
You know,
the number 2 is socially constructed. So
yeah, like
that I call that duck a mallard. That's socially constructed. So
yeah, I mean,
yes.
When it comes to that, like it makes me be like, that doesn't seem right. Like I can easily like I can be like that definition doesn't like really sound correct to me, and I can use examples as to why. So that's why I'm always like, if gender is socially constructed, then it would disprove my own opinion of it that
all words are socially constructed.
Yeah,
I don't think that's a hammer that hits.
Yeah, that's why I'm always like I mean, if that's the case, I'll stick to the whole two genders thing.
Yeah, to say just a social construct, and I say fine, but what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean it's less important to people? The words Democrat and Republican are very much just a social construct,
right?
But they do mean things to people. Let them have their labels. Absolutely.
I mean, I think because I do consider myself, somewhat libertarian because I do believe in limited government. I do believe in individual rights, and if I do believe some government should be there as a law too. So I'm all like, you do what you want. That's totally fine too. But I feel like once it starts to, you're basically telling me that I'm wrong, and the definition or the answer you're explaining to me doesn't match up with what I already believe in, and I can already disprove it. I'm like, you know what? Like, no.
Definition is wrong, and you can disprove it. Definition be wrong.
So basically, when we both talked about the criticisms of gender being socially not being socially constructed, right? So basically, if I say that I'm an apple because I feel like an apple because society got me to be like an apple too, am I an apple now?
He's an Apple user. Oh, sorry, I'm an Android user. No, that's not what you meant. Well,
Like
if Apple is a team you identify with,
like by all
are
means.
you a Dodger fan? You know,
Yeah.
are you a fan of Star Wars?
Yeah.
If that's a label you want to hang on to, I respect that.
Yeah, by all means, I feel like the libertarian in me would be like, you do it, you do you, like that's totally fine. But I feel like the second that you start to creep on and tell me like I'm wrong and that I need to believe this, and where you're telling, and then I'm like I have some questions about that, like, you know, what about X, Y, and Z? That's where I'm like, you know, like by all means, like
if I need to believe it, please give me the reasons to think so.
Yeah,
that's where I come from.
Yeah,
I need to believe this because if I don't, that'll be me committing violence on you. No. No.
Yeah, I think you said it a lot more better than I did as a result. Like I can say as a result, like that's a good transition. But yeah, you said it a lot more better than I did.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. That's good feedback. I appreciate that.
Did you see
Yes.
FK?
Invite him to Discord. Invite him to join us on Discord.
Invite him to Discord. Yes. Kimberly, will you? Oh wow, I totally had this.
Thank you.
Yes, we would like to make sure we give an invite to you to talk to us on Discord. We're on Facebook and we're also on Twitch, but more importantly, we are in a text chat and a voice chat on Discord on the Street Epistemology server. So so if we send it to your IG, that's Instagram?
Yes.
Okay, we will make a note to send you proper invitations to all this stuff.
Thank you so much. That'd be great. I would love to also hear what other people say. You know, like I said, you know, everyone knows something that you don't know. So I would definitely love to just hear the other side.
Yes, I hear somebody saying thank you is a social construct. It's still nice. Let's see. Somebody jokes, I am a flat earther and I identify as rational. That's just off.
That's a good one. I'm gonna remember that one.
Yeah, somebody mentions hashtag free the nipple. Let's see. You're totally welcome to read back in this text. There's a lot of conversation going on between the people.
Nice.
Talking about they keep making jokes with each other, and that works out. Cool. They're allowed.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, once again, I just want to say thank you for doing something like this too.
Thank you.
Like I said, I'm a really big fan of the First Amendment right, and being on college campus, I definitely do see my own First Amendment right being challenged. Very big time too, especially being a conservative that we're basically told to shut up, and now we're seeing other people who just who aren't even a conservative being told the exact same thing too. And I definitely fear like we need to have, even if they're wrong, have these other opinions out there too. Everyone should have a right to say what they wish. We except with very, very few exceptions.
A few very specific exceptions, so we can understand. Yeah. I think when the authority value goes way above the liberty value, that's what you're going to get. Restrictions on speech and communication.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yes, and thank you, Christian, they say.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for the conversation. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you guys once again.
Is she cold? I look cold.
Thank you guys so much. I'm gonna figure out the chicken part.
We're doing that.
Perfect.
Nice meeting you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Will you help us with the shade?
Yes, I will help you with the shade.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh yeah, it's bad. It's a bad thing. And let's see. What is it going to take? It's going to take me out here.
We can't.